shadow figure. So this all started when I was about 8 or 9, but before I get into it, I'd like to give you all a visual of the house I was raised in. So I'll start with the hallway. Down the hallway, my room is on the left side, and right when you go in, to the left is my bed against the wall on the opposite side of the hallway wall facing towards the door. So now that's out of the way, I'll get right into it. I'm not too sure how it all started exactly, but I started having nightmares almost daily. If not daily, at least 4 through 5 times a week. It would always be the same dream as well, and I still remember them clearly today, and I'm 21 years old. So in these nightmares, I would be sleeping and then wake up. So it's like I'm having a second life, if that all makes sense. When I wake up in the nightmares, I start hearing footsteps in the hallway, which is on the other side of my wall. In my dreams, I always just think it's my parents going to bed, but I get a weird feeling. So I'm lying in bed and watching my doorway, and I start seeing a head slowly peek around the doorway. An all-black figure with no face. Then it'll keep coming into my room and just stand at the end of my bed. That's when I usually wake up. Through a couple weeks, the dream would progress. It would be the exact same as I described above, but then the shadow figure would start moving to the side of my bed and just stare at me, and then I wake up. When I think about it, the figure was all black, like I mentioned, and was maybe 7 feet or 8 feet tall. It's hard to know when it's a dream after a few weeks of nightmares progressing. One time in the middle of the night, I woke up from the same nightmare to the shadow figure standing right there by my bed, and I screamed for my parents to help. When they rushed to my room to see what was wrong, it was just gone, and they thought I was just having a nightmare, which is true, but I swear I was awake when I saw the figure, and my parents wouldn't believe me, of course, because I was only 9. The nightmares started to go away, and I had them maybe 2 times a week now, but I still saw the figure, or whatever it was, every time I woke up. After a few times of having my parents rush to my room from me screaming and not believing me, I eventually gave up on screaming for help. So when I awoke to seeing the figure, I would close my eyes again, hoping it would just go away, which it did. This eventually stopped for a few years. My parents eventually got a divorce when I was around 14, and my dad moved to a new house. Once in a while, when I stayed there, the nightmares would come back, but only once in a while. The exact same dream as well. I started to get into video games, so like any other teen, I would stay up till maybe 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. just playing games. But sometimes when I stayed up that late, I would see the figure over in a corner, not well lit from the corner of my eye. When I look, nothing was there. Every time I was home alone, I always felt like something was watching me. I would sometimes hear scratching in the walls or footsteps in the hallway down from the living room, but only when I was home alone. My dad would say it's probably just an animal, since the house was a foreclosure before we got it, but I knew that wasn't the case. So of course he wouldn't believe me. One time when I had my friend Colin over and stayed the night, we stayed downstairs since we were loud, obnoxious teens and we wouldn't wake my dad. He also had a bad vibe of the place. In the basement, I was sleeping in one room and he was sleeping in the other room next to mine. When I woke up, I started hearing the scratching and footsteps around 2 a.m. I went to go get Colin to see if he heard it as well, and he did. We both described it as someone with boots on walking around right above us. I knew for sure it wasn't my dad because of how early it was. We both went back to lying down in the room I was in, and outside my door are the stairs to go upstairs, and the dining room light was on. My dad would always leave that light on so that we could see in the middle of the night if we ended up getting up for something. Me and Colin just watched the door at the top of the stairs thinking something was about to happen. You can see the light under the door because of the dining room, and me and Colin both saw something just walk past the door. We both started freaking out, but also whispering to each other, just scared, wondering what it was. The door ended up opening by itself very slowly, and that's when we both got up so fast and went to the main room in the basement and turned on all the lights. We ended up staying up all night, just scared of another encounter happening. Nothing else happened that night. So this happened a couple times, but a few weeks later, I would wake up in the middle of the night with sleep paralysis. I was wide awake but couldn't move anything, and I'd just see a figure at my doorway, just staring straight at me. This just happened for a few seconds, but that was the scariest thing that had ever happened to me. The second time this happened again, but it was a little different and absolutely terrifying. I woke up in the middle of the night with sleep paralysis again, but only my legs. I couldn't move my legs, but I could move my upper body. You know that feeling in your hands and feet when they're asleep? That's how both of my legs felt. But it would move up my body, and within seconds, my whole body had that feeling and I couldn't move anything. It felt like something was holding me down, and at the corner of my eye, I see a shadow just move very quickly out of my doorway. I told my dad about this the next morning, and he told me that happened to him about a week ago, but he didn't mention seeing a shadow. So all this eventually stopped, and now it's the present. I'm 21 with my own house. In my bedroom, I have a walk-in closet, and on the right side of the wall in that closet is my bathroom. One night, I had my friend Allie over, and I went to take a shower while she played with my dog. During my shower, I heard a loud bang on the other side of it, so in my closet, and I figured it was just Allie telling me to hurry up. When I got out, I asked her why she banged on the wall, and she said she didn't and claimed to be in my living room the whole time. I just went ahead and accepted that and ignored the situation. A few days later, I heard another bang in my closet, and I was home alone with my dog. When I went to go look, there was stuff on my floor that had been up on my shelf. They were on the shelf pretty good and had no way of falling off randomly. The light in my closet would also turn on by itself, but I wouldn't notice it when it happens because the door would be closed, but I knew I turned the light off because I always do. This has happened a few times now. So to this day, it's just little simple things like that, and the TV will turn on by itself. I highly doubt it's an electrical problem though, because I had a pretty good inspection of the house before I bought it. I still always feel like someone or something is watching me though, and I'm not sure if it's the shadow figure following me everywhere I go or what. Sorry for being so long, but I like to be very descriptive to help give you guys a vision of what I have dealt with. So thank you for your time in reading this. If any of you have any ideas of what could be going on, please let me know. I'm not too bothered by it, but I am concerned.